session, I'll tell you what hacking is, what's the difference between ethical and unethical hacking, types of hacking and types of hackers, and just a small demo to show you how stuff works.
Okay.
Right. So basically, as I was telling earlier, hacking is just a form in wherein you excellence at a field. So even a carpenter could be a hacker if he's mastered the skill of carpentry. A singer could be a hacker if he or she is extremely good at singing. But nowadays we have combined these two terms and referred hacking as something that you do on computers.
Mhm.
So basically, all the hackers are people who have mastered the art of computers in any of the field, be it networking or coding or writing programs or web designing. Now, I'll just give you a short brief about what all fields are there in hacking. And if you have heard any of them, then I would be happy to discuss over that so that you get familiarity with the topic. So the first one is penetration testing. The second is VAPT, called vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Then you have digital forensics, then you have policy design. So just like you have policies for companies regarding meetings, or if there's a general meeting, then how well should it be planned, how well before all the members of the board should be informed. In the same way, you have policy designs for cybersecurity as well, wherein you define some policies. So if you are in a college or you are in a university or you are a professional, you would have seen there a policy wherein you will have to replace your password every 6 months. So it is one of such policies in cybersecurity. Then the next thing you can do is exploit development. So exploit development is basically wherein experts develop codes or bits of codes which are used to take control over a computer or assist in taking control over a computer. And those codes or piece of codes are known as exploit. So exploit development is making such piece of codes. Virus is also exploit. Malware is also exploit. But it depends on how you use them and how what it works. That is how they are categorized into malwares, viruses, and keyloggers, etc. Then in testing, you have application testing, which could be web application testing or a software testing. Then you have network testing. So these are some of the things you can do, and there are many more. Have you heard of any of these before?
No.
No, right. And there's one more field called social engineering. So social engineering is basically taking control over a network or a individual unit or a person by using social norms. So you talk to so you talk someone into clicking in a link, or you talk someone into giving them your password, are categorized under social engineering. Whereas penetration testing, as we go, or VAPT, this is a section wherein you are connected to a network and the owner of the network allows you to penetrate the network. So in penetration means wherein you gain access in the network through various forms. You could also send the exploit over the network. You could run scans. So these are basically fields. Now, as the word says, ethical and unethical hacking. So ethical hackers are the ones who are who hack to test the network or the strength of the network or the application, whereas unethical hackers are who do the same thing but to get personal gains or to destroy or make damages to someone on the other end, right? So there is a very small gray line of ethics wherein if you do a certain, so even if you're doing an ethical hacking job and you cross that line, you become unethical. You become unethical hacker. So do you have any doubts anything until now?
No.
All right. So I'll just give you a small example wherein you could a ethical hacker could cross the line and become unethical. So let's assume there's a company network. Do you know IP addresses?
Yeah, I know. Okay, one
Yeah, right.
second. Let me introduce myself. I'm
Yeah, sure,
currently
sure.
working in networking field only as associate level
Right.
in as associate engineer.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
I know little bit about networking server like
Okay, that's even better. So
okay.
let's assume, yeah. So for the sake of this demo class, we'll assume a company called ABC Corp,
Mhm.
right? Now let's assume ABC Corp has an internal network with the IP addresses 192.168.1.0 till 255, right?
Okay.
And therein 0 and 255 are not the addresses, but broadcast address and stuff. And the functional address will be from 1.1 to 1.50. So they have 50 addresses on PC. Let's assume these are PC.
Mhm.
And 1.51 to 1.75 are phones in the company network which are connected through Wi-Fi. And then you have 1.0 as the router, 1.0 as the router. It is a very small network, right?
Okay.
So in this case, assume you are given a IP which is 1.100 for testing. This is the tester, and the company defines the scope as so when you're given the job of penetration tester, there are some boundaries that are defined while you are doing the test.
Mhm.
So let's assume the company has allowed you to test only the PCs, that is from 1 to 150, 250, right? So this becomes your scope.
Correct.
So the scope of project is only from 1 to 50. But while doing your testing, you are curious or you accidentally scan or trace 1.0, that is the router.
Correct.
So this is where you become unethical, because the ethics only allowed, or the contract only allow you to scan the PCs that are ranging from 1.1 to 1.50, right? This is a very small and basic example which could happen anytime in the world. But when we take this to internet, or when we take this on a broader scale, this becomes even thinner. The line becomes even thinner, line between ethical and unethical. So in that case, let's assume there's a website called so the same company has a website called abc.com, and they use n number of services wherein they use YouTube, and they use Google Analytics. Then they use a blog service, they use a payment gateway, and they also use a third party service for their protection of website, which is through a web application firewall. So web application, so since you are working in networking, you know what a firewall is, right?
Yeah, I know.
In the same way, there is a device called web application firewall, or a software which is specially made for websites or web
Mhm.
applications. So let's assume the abc.com has these particular devices running on it, or these particular services. Now, while you're scanning ABC, you intercept the packets between ABC and your PC. But in the same way, it sends some packets to Google Analytics as well. So when you browse the website, Google Analytics sends that, oh, there's a person that has connected to this website from the IP XYZ. That is your public IP address. Now, while you are interfering in the bits, and while you are changing the bits, at one point you change the data that is being sent to the blog. So while testing, you're just testing for something that is not proper in the company. But while doing so, you accidentally change the bits that are being sent to the blog website, the third party blog. So even in that case, it goes out of your scope and that becomes unethical, right? So now we'll move to types of hackers. Before this, I want to ask if you have any doubts or if you want me to explain anything more.
No, I understood till now.
Right. So now we'll discuss on types of hackers there are. So in this case, we start from five script kiddies. So script kiddies are hackers who just look up the internet, use the tools that are already there, follow someone's tutorials. Those are known as script kiddies, meaning they follow one particular script for that operation, and that's what they do at every interval. That is why they are called script kiddies. Newbies are someone just way better than script kiddie and who understand what the script is doing or what the tool is doing are called newbies. Then you have, this is in terms of experience, and then you have amateur and professional. But in terms of the types of work or scanning you do, you are divided into three hackers: black hat, white hat, and gray hat. So I think you can probably assume that white hats are the ones who do ethical hacking, black hat are the ones who do unethical hacking. The problem is with the gray hats. The gray hat hackers are the ones who work on un unprotected domains. So let's assume you are booking a room at a hotel in the
Mm-hmm.
hotel's website, and you're just curious to see if the hotel has a very safe website or not. So you use your hacking skills and try to find if there are any vulnerabilities in the website of the hotel, and can you book the room for free. And while doing so, you accidentally find a vulnerability which allows you to at least log in as the administrator of the website or the hotel. Now, in this case, the hotel did not allow you to hack, but you did hack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are a black hat hacker at this moment. But as soon as you
Correct.
do it, you but if when you start when you decide that you will start exploring this website, you start recording your screen and whatever you do with your commentary. And once you find the administrative panel, you stop the recording, you send the recording to the company or the hotel, writing a mail that while I was booking, I found XYZ vulnerabilities and which allows me to get administrator privileges. Now, in this case, even though you were not hired, but you did the testing and you reported it immediately without affecting or destroying or gaining any personal information. You did this and you reported it for the welfare of the company or the hotel. In
Mm-hmm.
that case, you become a gray hat hacker, wherein you did not do anything. You did something wrong because you were not allowed to do it, but you did not have any personal gain or malicious intent, and you reported
Mm-hmm.
it back. So in that case, you become a gray hat hacker.
Okay.
So is it clear, or there are still doubts, or it's
Yeah,
confusing?
one doubt.
Right.
If I'm reporting something means it is ethical hacking, right? Then I will become
Yeah.
white hat.
Yeah. So no, that is in case the company has given you permission to do that
Oh,
before you start doing it. So it's all
okay,
about the
okay.
timing. If you're
Fair enough.
allowed to do something and then you do it, then you are a white hat. If you're not
Okay,
allowed to do
understood.
it and you report it, then you are a black hat.
Okay, that understood.
So the problem with the gray hat hackers is that not always the company in front of you or the organization is readily accepting someone pointing out their mistakes. So in that case, the company has the rights to file a case on you for hacking without their permission, because to them you are a black hat hacker, right? You did it without the permission of the company. So being a gray hat is still a taboo in India and almost most of the countries in the world. So the only place you are safe in India is white hat hackers, wherein you have the permission before you do anything. Okay. So up until now, are we clear with everything?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So for this class or the course, just so that we don't face any problems being a gray hat or a black hat, what we do is we create an internal network of multiple PCs with different operating systems, and we try to hack them through our attacker machine. So for that, we'll use VMware Workstation. So are you familiar with VMware Workstation? Hello? Hello?
VMware means the normal VM machines, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Hello.
yeah, VM machines.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Right. So are we clear up
Wait
until
a minute.
now? Anybody has anything doubt?
Yeah, yeah, it is clear. It's clear. Thank you. Ah, hello.
Okay, should we? Yeah,
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go.
yeah. So up until now, are we clear, or anybody has any doubts or anything? Should we move forward?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, okay. So for this course, we'll be using VMware Workstation with multiple VMs. VM is virtual machines. So if anybody does not have the idea what it is, I'll just give a brief introduction. VMware Workstation is a software or an application that allows you to host multiple operating systems on your basic operating system. So my laptop is right now a Windows laptop, as you can see. On that, I am running a Parrot OS. Parrot is a Linux flavor, and I have other operating system as well, Ubuntu, VBox machine. So this is what we are going to use, and we are going to create a network in these machines and try to penetrate them, and that is how we learn to hack systems in the network. Has so have you used Linux before this?
No, I have installed a Linux in my laptop, but I didn't use previously. I didn't use before.
Okay, so if you are interested in this course and if you are willing to start the course, I would suggest that you just do a brief study of what Linux is and what are the basic commands. Obviously, I'll be teaching you how to set up the server, what Linux is,
Hello?
but it is hello,
Hello?
hello.
Yes,
Uh,
I have Linux on my machine. Yes,
you have
concerning myself, I have Linux in my machine, and then I have the virtual box.
you have Linux, and do you have any experience in using Linux? Like, do you know the commands or anything?
Yes, yes, I know some command. I took a training with Linux, with Oracle SQL 12c.
All right, that's great. So for other people who do not know Linux in the course, it's not a problem. In this course, we'll also teach you what is Linux, introduction to Linux, how to set up a LAMP server. So LAMP is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So that is how you host a website, and then difference between a server and a host, and what is VMware, and how will we install VMware. All of these would be covered, so you don't have to worry about not knowing or missing out on anything. It's just good if you have already read about it, so that when we are doing the practical, you'll be very smooth and up with the class, and we can finish the course faster. So for this, we'll be using Linux and also multiple machines like Ubuntu and there is a B box. So this is a operating system that has been it is a Linux flavor operating system that has been specially made for people who want to learn ethical hacking, so that we can try different uh, exploits and attacks on that.
Hmm.
So when the course
So,
starts, we can do this.
so basically, this VM we are creating to create a network, basically based on the cyber laws or something. We are trying to show our IP in different country. For that purpose, we are creating this VMware, or
Yeah, so good question. I'll explain you. So
yeah.
basically, for this course, we are using VMware for a couple of reasons. One, creating a local network.
Mm-hmm.
Second, to avoid any legal actions, because trying on someone else's PC is always a crime. So we'll create our own operating system and own network and attack on it.
Mm-hmm.
And third, to get to experience different operating systems. So because VMware allows you to host multiple operating systems, instead of forcing or putting pressure on your PC and the processing power, we can host
Mm-hmm.
Linux, Windows, iOS, all on the same virtual machine network, so that when you test, you can test exploits or find vulnerabilities in all different operating systems.
Okay, so this suppose I want to use the Parrot operating system and other operating system. By default, it will come in VMware, or we have to run the setup, or we have to where we can get the operating system setups.
Yeah, right. So I'll tell you that. Basically, VMware is just a software that comes with nothing at all. We'll have to install
Mm-hmm.
them individually and set up the server and the network separately,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be covered in the course. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about setting up. I'll teach you
Okay.
everything in the course. Wherein, see if you can see my screen. I'll help you with installation of VMware, installation of Kali Linux or Parrot OS. So
But those setups where we can get, you guys will give, or we can directly download from the online, or
you can
those are.
you can directly download from the internet, or else I will also give you the link, official links for those pages, so you don't download from some untrusted source.
Oh, okay, okay, great.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. I'll provide you the links and I'll help you set up the whole system. So I assume that in 2 to 3 classes you should be very thorough. You'll be very thorough with what VMware is, what Linux is, and some basic Linux commands, and also I'll also in first couple of classes tell you how you can create a network in the VMware,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can start with the whole process of basically understanding what hacking is and actually hacking different machines in the network. So then you can see your network wherein you can ping other devices in the network, and then we'll try to hack them.
Mm-hmm.
So that and for people who don't know IP, we'll also cover all this. What is IP, network IP, private and public IP. So basically, we'll go from basics, and then from here, from reconnaissance, starts what professional ethical hackers do in the business, because all this is kind of prerequisites. Everything before that is a prerequisite. But in this course, since we're starting from basic, we'll cover that, and we'll also start ethical hacking from reconnaissance,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll cover all of this.
Okay.
So anybody has any doubts or wants something to be included or excluded from the course?
The first you have showed something, right? The policy design or something. That notepad you can
Yeah,
just open.
yeah. So
These are
you're
the
talking about the policy.
yeah, the penetration testing. These are what are this basically?
So these are fields or different sections of cybersecurity.
Okay, different sections of cybersecurity. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, or fields in cybersecurity.
Okay,
And
okay.
so this course will majorly cover penetration testing, vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
assessment and penetration testing, and a bit of application testing and completely network testing.
Okay.
So if you want, then we can
So
have a different course for policy design
Mm-hmm.
and a different course for social engineering, because social engineering, so you can prevent penetration testing network, a company can prevent attacks over the network or website through different services and devices and hardwares and software. Like you have firewall, you have web application firewall, you have IDS and IPS. But when there is a social engineering attack, there is no such device or software to secure a company from social engineering. The only thing you can do to prevent from being attacked by social engineering is
Mm-hmm.
training, is human training, training the staff or employees of the company to be aware and alert so that you are not hacked through social engineering.
Still, I'm not clear. One small doubt. If I'm become if one ethical hacker, he wants to
Right,
hack one company, then
right.
first he will go through all those things. Whether he can hack through the penetration testing or so he
Right.
has to decide all those areas. Then only he can able to hack. That's what you are trying to say.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Okay.
the very important thing in this is reconnaissance, as I said. So reconnaissance is basically doing a background check without actively involving in the company network or the website. So you do this by standing far. So it's just like the same way. If there is a military attack or if there is a shooter or assassinator, he would first outline the whole area where the incident is going to happen, follow the target by not actively involving at the target. So this is what reconnaissance is, and it has two types: active and passive. So you passive reconnaissance is completely legal throughout the world. So if you want to approach a country, first you should do a passive reconnaissance, and that will give you a fair idea of how weak the network is. Roughly you can estimate that there could be x number of entry points, or the network or the website is weak in x number of areas, and then you can approach the company saying that I am a ethical hacker, and I think I have found some vulnerabilities in your website or the network, and I can help you cover them up or heal them.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. So now are you clear with the whole process of how you actually do it in the field?
Clear. Clear.
Yeah. So it's like scoring the whole map and going through everything, understanding that, and then as you have a potential analysis through reconnaissance, and then you can create a proposal and give the company of what you can do in this state.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes everything under the legal framework wherein you did not involve until and unless you were given the permission.
Okay.
Right. So how did you find the demo class up until now?
Yeah, it's clear. The
Okay.
overall
I
idea
have
is
a
clear.
question.
Yeah, yeah. Go on.
I have a question.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, earlier you talked about the cybersecurity. What is the difference between the cybersecurity and then the ethical hacking?
Right. That's an amazing question. I highly appreciate your question. So cybersecurity is basically a field. Cybersecurity is the whole broad spectrum of anything that has to do with computers, networks, internet is all about cybersecurity. And ethical hacking Hacking is basically mastering the skill, but in these terms that are being used on a daily basis, ethical hacking majorly refers to penetration testers. And all these things that I have mentioned here are parts of cybersecurity. Ethical hacking is closely related to penetration testing, or vulnerability assessment and penetration testing could be called as ethical hacking.
Okay, thank you.
So, ethical hacking is basically finding a way to get into the network or application or the company infrastructure. So, in some cases, getting inside the application or cracking the website is also termed as ethical hacking. But a few areas like policy design, digital forensics do not count as ethical hacking or exploit development or social engineering. So, ethical hacking is a subset of cybersecurity wherein it could combine stuff like penetration or exploit application penetration. So, is that, are you clear with what I said? Are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah, we are satisfied. And one more, Kunal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are using one OS which is Linux family in virtual
Yes.
machine, right? Virtual machine or virtual
Yes.
box.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Which OS do you prefer, and why do you prefer that OS?
Right. So right now I'm using Parrot OS. But I would suggest that you could go with first of all why Linux. I'll tell you why Linux. Why Linux? Because most of the tools that are made in for ethical hackers or cybersecurity professionals are made in Linux, and they are accessible across almost all the flavors of Linux. So that is why we use Linux. Is the first point. Then why certain OS that I prefer. So I prefer Parrot OS and or uh, Linux Kali. Now, why these two particularly? Because these operating systems comes with a lot of inbuilt cybersecurity tools. So it saves you time and internet space, or like you're downloading bits, because all these applications come with, see, if you look at the screen, all these are tools that I use or people use in penetrating a network or anything related to cybersecurity, and these tools are inbuilt. So if you use Ubuntu, it's fine, but every time we start a penetration test or something, you'll first have to install the tool that we'll be using.
Hmm.
So see, it has different tools for cryptography, and then vulnerability analysis, information gathering. So these are properly organized in Kali, Linux Kali and Parrot OS both. The difference between Kali and Parrot is Parrot has a better, so we'll go with better GUI for
Mhm.
Parrot. Linux, it is all about terminal or command prompt.
Can
Linux
you go
has
with Barrett menu or the Barrett tool menu, which you showed it now?
sorry,
You
I
showed
didn't
me
hear you.
that
Can you
The Barrett
yeah,
tool
yeah,
menu. Yeah.
yeah. So right now I'm using Parrot OS, and
Okay.
Parrot OS has inbuilt tools. So these are the tools that are inbuilt.
So the password attacks, so these also the inbuilt tool. Those.
These are
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So especially it's for only for hacking purpose. This kind of OS, we can say
Yes,
like
yes.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And yeah, go on, go on.
Also, why do you prefer VirtualBox or virtual machine to install Kali Linux or Parrot? Why don't you go for host OS like that? Instead of installing Windows over that Kali or Parrot like that? Why don't you go for? Why don't we go for directly Kali Linux or Parrot like that? Can't we go like that?
Yeah. So there are a couple of reasons. First, being that I personally prefer Windows for all my personal uses. So because you get better softwares for Windows, so my regular day-to-day work, checking the mails or using different softwares like Photoshop, MS Office, is better in Windows. So I keep my base OS as Windows, but there is no problem in keeping Linux Kali or Parrot OS as your base window. The other advantage there is that when you test or when you actually get in the field and attack, and by chance there is a virus or something that's coming from the reverse connection, or someone's trying to hack your computer, your base OS doesn't get affected. Base OS is still safe, only the VMware is affected. So you just remove the VM or install a new one, and you are safe again. Your base operating system doesn't get affected. Your C drive or like the basic primary drive is not corrupted. Third reason why I use VMware is it has a feature called snapshot. So what snapshot does is, if I take a snapshot of Parrot OS right now, and tomorrow in the next class we are installing a new tool, and while installing I somehow fail my network drivers, or my network drivers are deleted, or something happens, or I lose the data, I can reload to a snapshot which I created today, and the machine will be same as it is right now. So especially when you do this ethical hacking, you many a times change the configuration in tools. In lots of tools, you change the configurations depending on the what network you are, or depending on what tools you're going to use. You don't update all the tools. So like imagine right now I'm updating three tools called X, Y, and Z, and those all take around a total of 1.4 GB. In my next testing, I need tools Z, A, and B, and that would take around 2.3. So instead of wasting the space for Y and Z, after I'm done with test one, this is my test one. After I'm done with test one, I'll reload to the snapshot 0, and then I'll update everything, create a snapshot T2 for the second test. Once I'm done with T2, I'll reload back to snapshot 0, so that I'm using the same space instead of. So what happens in your base OS, you install a tool, now you uninstall it, the residual files are still there and it's still occupying your space, or you forgot to delete or uninstall that tool, it's still occupying the space. So in that way it is easier. Same goes with configuration or any other thing you do. Snapshot basically helps you a lot to revert back to the basic position. So that is the network. And fourth reason why I use it is that this is my attacker machine, Kali Linux or Parrot OS, that can be easily connected to different tools over the network. If I have base system and I want to test a Windows and a Linux machine, would you install VM then, or would you take another physical machine wherein you'll install Windows and another physical machine wherein you'll install Linux? So did you get my point? Hello.
Yeah, Kunal.
Yeah, so it's always easier to form the network. So now I had a Windows machine installed in my VM, but right now if you see my library, I just have these machines. I have completely uninstalled Windows machine because I was done testing it. So it's so much easier to create a new operating system and delete it anytime, create it back to, or like restore factory settings or restore it to a state you are happy with. It's more accessible than putting it on a base Windows. And as I said, we'll be trying the whole testing on at least a Linux and a Windows machine. So you'll have to, in total, this course will have three machines. One is attacker, which is Parrot or Kali. Then you have one Linux, and so one Linux and one Windows machine. At least we'll try to attack these two in the same network. So my network will have three machines. So anyways, when we have to create a network, it's easier to create network on the VMware rather than attaching physical machines or installing VM after you have installed Kali Linux as a base operating system.
Okay. While installing these many operating systems, is there any particular configuration? Is there any configuration that this much of memory and this much of storage space,
Yeah,
like
so
that?
I recommend like you have around 200 GB of free space in your hard disk.
Mhm.
Approximately so 4 GB RAM is still fine, but if there is 8 GB RAM, it's really good, and you would be happy while using virtual machines. And a sufficient enough processor. I wouldn't name i3 or i5 or something, because a lot of flavors of i3 are way better than i7. So they have different versions and flavors in processors as well. But any i3 would still be good. If you are using Pentium or dual core, I don't think it would help you in the core. Like you'll be stuck when everyone's done. 4 GB RAM is acceptable, but 8 GB is better.
So how many space do you need on the hard drive for the installation?
It's 200 GB.
Oh, 200 GB.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's considering the safe side. That's safe side. You have a 200 GB hard disk free, because then you would download a lot of operating systems. I assume at least three operating system you'll have to download. Four, at least four, because we have a particular operating system that's specifically for that. And then every time you create a snapshot, it occupies a space of anywhere between 2 GB to 16 GB. So every snapshot would take. But if you are short on resources, probably 50 GB should be sufficient, because then
Okay.
after you are after you are done downloading it, just delete it and keep your that space free. So 50 GB is good, but 200 GBs you won't have to worry about deleting all the OS, because after you are done with the course, you there would be a point of time wherein you would want to try whatever's done in the course back again, and then you will again have to download all those operating systems. So if you have more space, you could save those iOS files. Operating system would almost all the operating system would be downloaded as iOS files, ISO files. Sorry. So you could save these
So
ISO files, and then yeah.
okay. All right. So do you need some programming knowledge for these courses?
No, you don't. The only time you would need programming knowledge is if you ever want to try exploit development. Exploit development is something wherein you need programming language knowledge, but that is not the part of this course.
Okay. So
Okay, Kunal.
earlier you were telling me the uh,
Yeah, please
uh
continue.
so earlier you were telling me the difference between ethical and cyber. So are you saying that someone who have experience with ethical hacking can work in cybersecurity field?
Yes, yes. So ethical hacking is basically a subset of cybersecurity.
Okay.
Cybersecurity is the field. So it's just like your university. You have you have IT as the department, and then you have hardware and software as the classification, right? Or networking as one of the classification. So consider cybersecurity to be IT and ethical hacking to be as networking.
Okay.
So it's just like that. So if you're good at networking, you are automatically IT professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the same way, it's just a subsection or a subcategory of cybersecurity. As I
Okay.
told you, hacking is basically mastering any skill. So even if someone is very good at exploit development, he could be an ethical hacker. Because when you have conferences, ethical hacking conferences, a lot of conferences are named as ethical hacking conferences and not cybersecurity conferences, just to be catchy. And people do come there to give demonstrations and lectures and seminars about exploit development or forensics or social engineering. So in a way, ethical hacking is also cybersecurity, right? It's just a term you give. It's not a post. So you'll barely find someone asking for a job for ethical hacker. They are actually referring to either penetration tester or application tester if you read in the job description.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
ethical
Super
hack
problem.
yeah, right. Ethical hacking is a very vague term.
Okay. All right. That answered my question. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, Kunal, uh,
Hmm.
you were talking about snapshot,
Right.
right? Correct. Snapshot means it is like a JPEG image or PNG or the complete backup of that video or the OS, because it takes
It
around 2 GB. Nearly 2 GB means it will be the backup of that OS, I think so.
Yes. A snapshot. So the name is snapshot. I'll show you in a way. Uh, VM and then snapshot. So when I take capture snapshot, it would back up the whole VM so that you can, if you see my screen, you can see a option called revert to snapshot or snapshot manager. So snapshot manager will save. It shows you are currently here. When I create a new snapshot, it will be here. And if I fall back to this and then create a new snapshot, it will come here. So if any point in time you want to go to a snapshot, say X here, one second, let me draw. So you would be, so let's assume we are here, we go to a snapshot X in here, we fall back to, let's call this the 0th snapshot, we fall back to 0, we make some changes in the operating system, install a new thing and create a snapshot, it would be Y. But when I'm operating on Y and I make some changes and create a snapshot, it will make a snapshot Z. And at any point in time you could go to X, Y, Z or 0. So it is basically the state of the operating system at that given moment. And state includes everything from the drivers you have installed to configurations you have made to the tools you have used. So did you get that?
Yeah,
I hope
we understood.
I hope I answered your question. Yeah. So that is a very helpful feature wherein, so when you are doing a particular test, you stand at X and then you go back to 0 and you try for a different test, you make Y, and then probably this company approaches you back, so you could reload the snapshot X and continue working over there, because then you have all the data that was saved. You don't have to
Correct.
find and delete everything. All the findings you have will be still there.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how it is. That's how snapshot works.